Modi sir, can we have a sound check quickly?
Hello.
Yes.
यहाँ पे बैठिए, इधर इधर बैठिए। कैमरे में आइए, सीधे नीचे बैठो।
Yes. बोलिए। सुकून से बैठो।
हाँ, टेंट चाहिए तो अच्छा होता है ना। बाद में रख सकते हैं।
Hello, teachers. We will start the session in a few minutes. We are trying to resolve a technical issue. Once that is resolved, we will start with the session. Thank you for your patience. DK Modi sir, I can see that now your audio is connected. If you could unmute yourself and speak just for the sound check.
Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Okay. Now I am audible.
Yes. Shall we begin with the session, sir?
Yes, you start the session.
All right, sir. A very good afternoon to one and all. And on behalf of the entire team of Vigyan Jyoti program, I extend my hearty welcome. I extend my warm and hearty welcome to everyone present in the room. We are delighted to bring to you yet another role model interaction session. As you all might already know through this lecture series led by eminent scientists from India, we aim to generate career awareness among students pertaining to STEM pathways, as well as to enlighten students about various inventions undertaken in the field of STEM. And today we have none other than Dr. M. Muruganandam to interact with the student on the topic STEM in agriculture, career opportunities and honing skills. Without taking any further ado, I invite Shri D.K. Modi, who's serving as the consultant for Vigyan Jyoti program, to give a brief introduction about our keynote speaker, Mr. Muruganandam, sir. Over to you.
None other than
Thank you. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
yes, sir.
With great pleasure, I welcome all to this role model interaction session. We are extremely fortunate to have among with us Dr. Muruganandam, principal scientist who is presently handling the research, patronizations, monitoring and evaluations, and knowledge management cell at the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservations, Dehradun. Sir, you would be very happy to know that Vigyan Jyoti program is a flagship initiative of the Department of Science and Technology, which is running successfully in collaboration with NVS. And at present, 250 JNVs all over the country. This program is a huge step in the direction of empowering girls in STEM field. This program aims at promoting meritorious girls, students in their class 9 to 12 standards toward underrepresented areas of STEM. Under Vigyan Jyoti program, a diverse array of activities catering to all the dimensions of learning. This role model session will be an immensely valuable addition to the array. Dr. Muruganandam, over 24 years of multidisciplinary research, professional experience in natural resource management, integrated water state management, soil water consumptions, fisheries, development, wetland and biodiversity conservations, and influences the traditional knowledge, contributed innovatively across multiple themes of sustainable farming systems, livelihoods and food security avenues and community mobilization. He has over 100 scientific and technical publications, received 30 fellowship awards, including Fulbright Fellowship, Fulbright Alumni Award, National Fellowships, Best Scientist Gold Medal, and many competitive grants. Presently, Dr. Muruganandam holds 4 portfolios: research coordinations, prioritizations, outreach, science communications, conflict resolutions, and organizational stewardship, and core research on prioritized areas of NRM. He is a passionate researcher who helps nucleate research ideas and team building with relationship, capital, and stakeholders. Stewardship inspire budding researchers, scholars, agriculturists, and farmers besides socializing science and technology. We are thankful to you, sir, for accepting your invitations for this role model talk. Bingan Jyoti scholars are highly eager and waiting to hear you and all about you, life and wonderful work that you are doing in the field of natural resource management and biodiversity conservation. Through this session, we aim to generate career awareness pertaining to science pathways. When we talk about this field of research, patronage, and monitoring the evaluations, knowledge management cell in the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, we do not find any persons better than you. Now, I request you, sir, please kindly start the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, Modi Saab and
Just take a minute.
Justle and Minu and all other school authorities. I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you
Yes,
are
sir,
audible,
you are
sir.
audible. And Muruganandam sir, before we, enter into the main topic,
Okay.
this was,
You have
request.
something
Yes, yes, we have a
fishy.
little curiosity, and we would like to know, your life journey from being a school student to being the Fulbright scholar and the principal scientist in the prestigious ICAR. We would be really grateful to you if you could share with us the challenges you might have faced and how you overcame those barriers to be where you are right now.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually from an agrarian family and born and brought up in a small village in southern Tamil Nadu, Sirivilliputtur. And all my schooling and all in that same town in a government school and subsequently management school up to 12th grade and the local language Tamil medium, and then I got into a bachelor's degree for biological science from Madurai Kamaraj University from a college near close to my village, Ayanada Janaki Ammal College. And so after my bachelor's degree, then I got into mariculture, one of the marine biotechnology course conducted at one of the ICAR institutes, Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, in collaboration with Cochin University of Science and Technology, Kochi, Kerala. And that was under a fellowship of junior research fellowship for 2 years. It's a competitive grant offered by Government of India. So there I studied for 2 years for my master degree. Then subsequently I went into a private entrepreneur farm management, coastal shrimp farm management as a manager and biologist in Orissa, Balesar coast. I was in Balesar for 2 years. Then I went into this agriculture research service, a national level competitive exam conducted by Agriculture Scientist Recruitment Board, ASRB, located in Delhi under the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. So I joined this ARS Agriculture Research Service as a scientist in 1996. Since then, I'm serving this Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation, located in Dehradun with national mandate. And meanwhile, I had got different trainings and different exposure visits to Hyderabad, NAM, National Academy of Agriculture Research Management, and again, my parent institute, Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, Kochi, all that. And otherwise, I have been here in Dehradun for the past 25, 26 years. Meanwhile, then I was selected or chosen for this Fulbright program as a postdoctoral fellow, visiting scientist to South Dakota State University, Brookings, USA for 2 years. There I was studying the impact of land use, land cover change on water quality means impact of agriculture on water quality and natural lakes in US Midwest for 2 years. Then again, I came back to my parent institute here in Dehradun, Soil and Water Conservation Institute. This is one of the 100 odd ICAR institutes working on different agriculture commodities and management issues. This institute mainly focuses on soil and water conservation and natural resource management, biodiversity conservation, and improvement of agriculture production, and helping out farming communities and other stakeholders. So we are focusing here. I am a principal scientist now and heading a unit of research prioritization, monitoring, and evaluation and knowledge management unit, which means that making a coordination between scientists and the stakeholders and our headquarters ICAR and other stakeholders. So our unit coordinates the research and development and technology evaluation, technology development process through annual meetings and periodic assessment and gatherings. And this is all about my background from my schooling to ending up in Dehradun. And if you have any, and I had all sorts of troubles and problems as you all have. And I was an average student only all through my schooling, and only after my graduation, after my bachelor's degree, I got a little of enlightenment and kind of science interest. Then I got deep into that, and then I persisted that interest, and I got some knowledge and basic knowledge and interest at my bachelor's degree college, that Ayanadar College. The professors and teachers there, I'm thankful to them that they gave a very good inclination and interest. They made me interested in the biological science and systems, and that continued even today. And I released those days of my learning at that institution, and that helps all the way even today. And with this, I'm doing good as a scientist in this institute, and we have developed. I was possibly instrument for developing few of the technologies related to fisheries, watershed management, and natural resource management, and sensitizing the farmers and stakeholders and local communities for environment management and integrated farming systems and promotion of traditional knowledge are some of my interests that is continuing. And impact of soil and water conservation on aquatic resources, ecosystem, biodiversity, fish biodiversity, all that were my focus so far. And now I'm little slowly shifting to managerial interests because of this project monitoring and evaluation unit. And this is all about in brief. And at the end, as we go progress in the presentation, then we can still further share some more ideas and things as we proceed. Okay, that's it.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for sharing your life journey with us. I'm sure all the students who are sitting here, could relate to the humble background that you have come from and could draw, more motivation and inspiration to go through the path of invention. So, now, sir, we can actually go ahead with the topic for today, which is STEM in agriculture, career opportunities and honing skills. I request you to please go ahead and share your insight on the topic with our students.
My slide is not visible, isn't it?
Sir, it is visible to us.
It's visible.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm audible also. My voice and things are all right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's good to see many schools and school children and students and teachers and associated faculty members and good in number, and it is good initiatives taken by many different agencies, DSTs and school Vidyalayas, and it's very much necessary to have an interaction at the right and young age, so that interest is created at the young age, so that they cultivate that interest for years to come. So now we will talk about science, technology, and engineering and management. So how would can I maintain these in English, or should I need to switch between both the language, Hindi and?
Sir, I
This
request
is all
to
right
switch between both the languages, sir.
Yeah, both the language. That is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all know that science is something kind of systematic study of physical and natural or structural features of natural world, maybe through observation and experimental investigations and developing theories, all that, to assigning reasons for the existing natural systems and structures, and again why do they behave like this, like that. Science largely it is observation, identification, and description on those identified natural structures and features, and experimental investigation, and again theoretical description of the observation being made, and comparing with the past standards established, or the kind of evidences we gained through experiments. So science is a kind of discipline which has huge potential, and it is an era of science and technology which we are facing through, isn't that? And similarly, engineering is a branch of science and technology concerned with designing, development, and maintenance, construction and maintenance of engineering structures and features towards solving the existing problems and evolving solutions for the problems. So engineering also involves use of science and mathematical tools and techniques. Mathematics, again, it's again play with numbers and their associated properties and relationship and kind of operations. So linking these science, technology, and mathematics and engineering is very much essential in the present context, since we are facing through a technology evolution and science evolution, knowledge explosion, and data explosion and knowledge explosion. We are the advancement of science and technology, we are able to group them and make into our day-to-day life. And before beginning that, let us understand the natures, and the nature itself is a kind of engineer, and it has got a lot of wonders and engineering inputs, and which we should recognize and imbibe into our day-to-day life, and we should draw inspiration from the nature only. Here these pictures are taken from your own school textbooks.
Muruganandam
See
sir.
how these tall trees, how do they draw energy and a kind of water and nutrients from the root, from underground space.
Sir, I'm
root.
sorry to interrupt. I
Yeah.
think you're changing the slides, right?
Yeah,
But on the presentation, the slides are not getting changed. We are
not
still on
moving.
the
Okay.
first slide. Yeah.
Okay. Now it is visible?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
Sir, if you could share the presentation with me on WhatsApp, I'll share it with Justy. So Justy can
Now it is
upload it.
visible.
No, sir, it's not visible.
Sir, if you could share the presentation with us, yeah, now it is visible.
Now is it visible?
Yes, sir, now it is
Yes.
visible.
Okay. And slides also must be moving.
Yes, yes, it is moving.
Yeah.
And
all
I
others
also
can,
request all the
make their
teachers. Yeah.
Mic, mute the mic here. So I was just drawing your attention. जैसे कैसे ये देखो बड़ा बड़ा trees, lumber trees, how they draw nutrients and water from the underground source to top of the tip of the canopy or the leaves and trees. So through their trachea and kind of conducting cells, phloem and kind of conducting cells, xylem and phloem, and how they stand erect. And similarly, these our body symmetry and body structures, our imagine our fingers, if they are in a different shape and symmetry, how would be handling. So these are all natural beauty and natural architecture and engineering that we need to understand, and from there we have to draw a kind of inspiration for our own kind of innovation and invention. Similarly, you see here this intestine. This is a space within which very long intestinal coils are accommodated, and by some reason it is unfolded by a doctor, means it cannot be kept again in the same fashion and manner, because it is 5 times taller than the height of an individual. So because of this coiling nature of muscles and kind of machinery muscles, it is artistically and kind of in engineering fashion, it is folded and kept very effectively. And here this is a thylakoid, and in that is the plant cells where our photosynthesis and food production, carbohydrate synthesis happens. So how this is like a transformer and factory, they have structure, and within which they generate their own food, and which becomes food for us also. Chloroplast. And again, these leaves, and the leaves, the lower side and the bottom side of the leaves has got more kind of stroma and openings for transpiration and kind of in the literary sense evaporation of water from leaves. So in the bottom side, more number of stroma is there, just because that they can have less sunlight on the surface, so that minimum water is transpired, and maximum water is conserved within the plant itself. So this kind of arrangement is available, kind of science and engineering principles are imbibed or included in the nature itself, that we have to understand from these are some of the few examples, but in every system of the nature and structure of the nature, we have got engineering background and scientific details that we have to understand and include in our day-to-day life. And similarly, science of we all know that science and engineering technology drives our day-to-day life these days. Often we say this today, this era is technology era, and a lot of technology, phone and kind of IoT, machine language, and kind of big data initiative. So all that initiatives and technological development makes our life, day-to-day life much easier and faster and joyful, isn't that? So, and in that context, and these kind of programs are rightly programmed to advance the interests of STEM in among the girl child, and in the every child in general, every child and girl children very specifically. And there was some questions posed to me that challenges you have faced during your childhood and your journey, and traditional knowledge of farming practices and best soil and water conservation practices, and the difference between US and India in agriculture and fisheries and aquaculture, scope for the students for natural resource management and agriculture for in career perspective, and wetland management and biodiversity conservation. These were the questions posed by students, and the organizers forwarded to me. And then as we proceed, we will dwell on all these. And before we go ahead, then we will understand some of the terms often used in science and technology and research. Measurement, anything which cannot be measured, cannot be monitored or managed, and that cannot be researched, and that cannot contribute to science in science or technology per se. जो जिसको measure नहीं कर सकता उसमें we cannot manage, and that will not be contributing to any kind of science or technology. And measurement could be simple or complex. Like a simple measurement could be plant growth, and complex measurement could be rainfall, कितना बारिश हो रहा है उसमें से कितना पानी सरफेस और लैंड सरफेस के ऊपर बह रहा है, वो उसी पानी के अंदर कितना मिट्टी भी बह रहा है, और मिट्टी के साथ कितना प्लांट न्यूट्रिएंट्स लाइक नाइट्रोजन एंड फास्फोरस वो बह रहा है, और उसी न्यूट्रिएंट एंड सॉइल एरोशन का कारण कितना क्रॉप प्रोडक्टिविटी रिलेशनशिप है. This could be a kind of complex measurements, and we all need to understand these terms in dealing with science and technology and research. And similarly, cause and effect, independent and dependent variables. There are some independent variables that influence the dependent variables. Suppose a temperature is an independent variable that influence the crop production, crop growth, plant growth, and crop yield. मतलब wheat or paddy yield. So this temperature is an independent variable that affects the plant growth and ultimate yield of paddy or wheat, गेहूं वगैरह का yield का affect करता है. So independent variable and dependent variable and the source of variations. जो अगर dependent variable temperature अगर कम होगा तो plant growth कम होगा, plant growth कम होगा तो production भी कम होगा. इस तरफ का इनका इन्फ्लुएंस क्या है, इनका एसोसिएशन क्या, टेम्परेचर कितना होना चाहिए, इस तरफ का एसोसिएशन बिटवीन इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स. सिमिलरली यूज ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर्स and use of water, they are all independent, and they would affect dependent variable crop, plant growth and crop production, and that becomes a source of variation that affects the plant growth and ultimate crop production. And similarly, identification of problems and solutions. We have got lot of around हमारा साथ में बहुत सारा प्रॉब्लम है, टाइम नहीं है और ज्यादा खाने का मटेरियल नहीं है, पैसा नहीं है, हमारा एनवायरनमेंट खराब होता जा रहा है, एनवायरमेंटल पोल्यूशन, एयर पोल्यूशन, क्लाइमेट चेंज, ये सारा प्रॉब्लम हमारा साथ बहुत है. तो उसका क्या क्या सोल्यूशन हो सकता है, और दी साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी कैन हेल्प. And for that we have to do some research, and research in that we have to form a hypothesis. These 30-degree temperature is going to be good for these wheat growth at this Dehradun location. So that would be hypothesis that we can test by altering different temperatures and the plant growth and yield. and then we subject to suitable statistics analysis, that we call test of significance, all that. And in doing that research, we will have a different treatment, maybe different temperature and different levels of water use, different levels of fertilizer use and growth, to see the growth and treatment. And for that replication, we cannot go with one treatment and with the same treatment, same temperature, same fertilizer use, maybe the 3-4 times we have to replicate, so that any error, external error contributing to our observation or not, to understand that. And similarly, experimental and sampling designs also we have to plan before conducting experiments. And similarly, another term comes harmonization or normalization. At times the data may be in different forms. Suppose height of the plant, sometimes maybe in centimeters, sometimes maybe in meters, sometimes maybe in millimeter. So we cannot compare those different units. So we have to put them in a same unit. That we call harmonization and normalization. And randomization means all our data set collection, treatment, and replication should be randomized. We should not collect the data selectively, so that our research becomes randomized without any biasness. And another concept is calibration, validation, prediction, projection, and modeling. All that these days it is coming very common in research and science and technology related avenues. Calibration, we have got some instrument that we are using for research, that first we have to calibrate with available set data. Then we have to validate with the collected data. Then we can go for prediction, and based on prediction we can come up with projection and modeling also. So this temperature change, 1 degree temperature change in climate is going to affect 10 million wheat yield. So this kind of modelers predict using this kind of approach. And these days big data initiative also coming up, and blockchain data, matlab data handling, because we have knowledge explosion and data explosion is happening all around us. And so now the government of India and other governments also have taken care of these big data initiatives, and maybe through blockchain technology. And this data is stored in different cloud levels, and using blockchain technology, and it becomes available to various users and needy agencies. And again, all these research and concepts and technology terms, then performance, efficiency, accuracy, reliability of data, and research and scientific output will also be known. These are some of these terms and terms used in research and science and technological thing. And as regard to branches, if you talk about agriculture branches in engineering and science and engineering, it could be agriculture engineering, soil water conservation engineering, with which our institute is involved, and harvest and post-harvest engineering, forestry and aquaculture engineering, environmental engineering. There are many engineering like that. And all that help in smart agriculture, and kind of that all that help in evolving modern technologies. And the tools and techniques involved in evolving modern technologies normally can be specified like these: GIS, Geographic Information System, and GPS, Global Positioning System, and other spatial coordinate systems, and electronic revolution, and smart precision farming, sensor development, monitors, and IoT based agriculture, phytronics, artificial intelligence, AI, and robotics, drone, sensors, and sensor based applications, corporate farming, laser leveling, zero till drills, happy seeders, and the greenhouse technology. All these are all some of buffalo technology, aeroponics and hydroponics, and designs of nursery and kind of polyhouses, soil water conservation engineering, structures and designs and interventions, crop diversification, and nanotechnology. For example, nano urea and nano DAP with the higher efficiency, nutrient use efficiency, and production efficiency. Similarly, biotechnology, also genetic engineering, gene editing, recombinant DNA technology, cloning. All that are advanced technologies that are coming into our way in day-to-day life. And advanced technologies are, of course, we all know that speedy and efficient, often accurate, and also economic. and it reduces the manpower requirement, labor requirement, and it brings higher efficiency. So it is with this many of technological concepts and ideas and engineering fields, there are wide scope is available for you. So you can prioritize some, you can pick up, choose some of these interesting areas, and you can start early also. People like me may not have much options. Now that all these options are available for you, and you can choose any one of the area and pick up into pick up for your future career and livelihood, and again your own interesting future life. And biotechnology and genetic engineering also give rise to new varieties, hybrids, more hybrids in terms of new, more resistant to disease crop, more resistant to disease, pests, and drought tolerant crops, and faster growth and yield more and tasty, higher taste. And fishing and harvesting also has got a lot of innovations and inventions. There's fishing gears and craft more efficient and less harmful to the environment, and that which reduces bycatch, that improves the environmental status. Now these days, we have, fuel efficient trawls and crafts are available, and similarly fishing nets are also available. They selectively extrude, they selectively avoid catching small size and unwanted species like trouts and all kind of it's tortoise and other unwanted organisms. And post harvest and processing improvement, remote sensing and surface sea surface temperature based fish schools identification, that helps remote sensing based technology, and that helps the fishermen to identify a rich fishing grounds where they can have a good fish catch. And precision farming, information and communication technology, and again a recirculatory aquaculture system, bioflux system, aquaponics, and use of robotics and drones. All these are all some of these advanced techniques. And similarly artificial intelligence, machine learning, based on using these big data initiatives or big data information available, AI and machine learning can be brought in to predict and predict the climate change and improve the cropping systems or cropping technologies, and bring in marketing and cropping intelligence. कौन सा time में कौन सा crop बोगाना, or what would be the marketing status at a given situation, given location. ये सारा के लिए AI or machine learning becomes very useful. And through this machine learning and AI, we can have a modeling and trend analysis and projections, and based on all these we can have automation also through drones and kind of robotics. And IoT based sensors, Internet of Things, IoT based sensors to detect water quality and filtration systems. Suppose in a pond we are allowing filling the water, and we can, while filling itself, we can know the water quality of the pond, the inflowing water, and if the water is more turbid or not having good quality water quality, then we can introduce filtration. And also if the filtration is not sufficient, we can go for a chemical application, all maybe through these IoT based robotics and sensor based detection systems. And IoT based robots also, now these days scientists are evolving to detect the nutrient levels in soils. मिट्टी में कितना नाइट्रोजन एंड फास्फोरस है, वो उसको देखेगा, वो रोबोट देखेगा, और उसी का हिसाब से कौन सा क्रॉप वहां पर क्रॉप ग्रो कर सकता है. और वो then these robots also, it goes for sowing and irrigation, watering and fertilizer and chemical applications also. So all our activities are automated and again made into efficient and very fast. Similarly, IoT based automated crushers or detect plant contents. These dry plants can also be analyzed for their nutrient contents, like kind of nitrogen and phosphorus content. So here also people are in our institute, our scientists are developing one IoT based automated plant analyzer. And all these areas brings in new jobs also. People might be saying that this automation and kind of new technology reduces the manpower and endanger the employment opportunities. But these new technologies also bring new jobs, particularly in agriculture and all. The job is now increasing, and in terms of data processing, and other than agriculture and data processing, content writing, blogging, and designing of different systems, and all that is possible. Also are all these are all emerging avenues for employment and career opportunities, and for which one has to identify the background skills required, and we have to develop that. And this US recently has identified that there is a growing job opportunities in agriculture, particularly from 20 to 2030. So we have to promote with these with these advanced technologies and concepts. We can go for nature positive farming. Nature positive farming means the farming which reduces the environmental impacts. At the same time, it increases the production, because our population and the growing demand for crop and food and other shelter and other needs, so goods and services are increasing because of population rise. And for that, we have to increase our production and without damaging the environment. And for that, we have to go for nature positive farming, and that could be crop rotation, intercropping, mixed cropping, alternate land use system, and promotion of integrated farming. From the same resource base, one or two, more than two commodities can be taken, like fish, poultry, pigs, and agriculture can be taken up, and through different cropping systems. And promote nitrogen fixing plants, because nitrogen is a costly nutrient, and if you incorporate nitrogen fixing plants in your cropping system, and they absorb atmospheric nitrogen and they fix the nitrogen in the soil and thereby increase the nitrogen content in soil. These nitrogen fixing plants could be legumes and other like azolla, all that. So that also can be incorporated into our cropping system. And topsoil needs to be protected, maybe through cover crop, and so that our soil health is maintained with appropriate soil carbon and clay content and other nutrients. And for which we need to promote no-till or reduced till or minimum soil working, that reduces the soil erosion. And again, enhances nutrient use efficiency. We have to apply nutrients at right time in a right way, so that the applied nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, plant nutrients, are efficiently taken by the plants. And these days now, nano urea and nano fertilizers are coming up, and they are also said to be very efficient and effective. And other than that, integrated nutrient management, integrated pest management, and biofertilizers, all that also coming up as a nature positive intervention or input. And conservative use of water and other inputs, so that we use minimum inputs and resources, and we maximizes our production from a given area or soil without affecting our environment. And again, improve all these interventions would improve productivity. So for a given input, our output would be maximum. And we are in with the growing population and growing needs of food, crops and commodities, and we need to diversify our cropping system and farming system, because in the world around 30,000 edible plants are available, but we are only depending on 9 plant species only for our majority of the food production. Only 66%, maximum of 66% comes from the 9 plants only. So we have to diversify our crops and plants for different, many different species, so that our production gets diversified, and also our nutrients, our nutritional requirement also met. Similarly, fish also has got 300 species, but we are only currently farming with 10 species only. And traditional crops and traditional species are not being farmed these days, and it is largely ignored. With the advent of green revolution and introduction of modern cropping systems, and these traditional farming are ignored and largely forgotten. And for that reason only, now this decade is recognized as a decade of millets, and recognizing our traditional crops, which are very rich in nutrients, and they contribute to our nutritional security and food production. And all that can be achieved through effective soil and water conservation management, and that can be achieved through slope stabilization. If the land is a steepy slope, and that induces soil erosion, and that destabilizes the landscape and soil resources, and there we may not be able to go for farming. So that can be achieved through engineering structures. There are different structures which we'll be seeing in a few coming slides. And the soil should always be covered with crops or plants. Otherwise, soil erosion will become common, and that will degrade the land and soil resources. And we need to bother about soil health, maintaining the soil carbon, organic carbon, and other nutrients and soil physicochemical parameters intact, so that soil health is maintained, that supports our crop production. And for that can be promoted through in situ moisture conservation, where rainfall occurs, and the rainfall can be conserved in the landscape itself. And again, water harvesting and recycling for life-saving irrigation and flood moderation, groundwater recharge, all that can also be promoted. And land capability-based cropping. What are the potential of the land and soil of a given area? And accordingly, we have to choose crops and cropping system and species for farming that does not tax the land resources and soil resources, at the same time gives good return and does not affect the environment as well. And for that, we have to propose alternative land uses. If farmers are adopting faulty crops and faulty practices, we may have to suggest them alternative land uses, maybe agroforestry systems and suitable integrated farming system. Integrated farming system means farming of 3 or more commodities on the same base of soil and water resources. Same water, same land resources, दो तीन commodities produce कर सकता. This economizes the production and increases and maximizes the return, and also reduces the environmental problems. And another concept is conservation agriculture, that always normally deals with minimum or zero tillage. The tillage is till means the soil, disturbing the soil. If you disturb the soil more, and it affects it exposes the soil to the external environment, external situation, and that promotes the soil erosion and removal of oxidation of soil organic carbon, all that. So minimum tillage that preserves the soil nutrients and soil properties intact and maintains the soil health. And also mulching. Mulching means incorporation of crop residues. जो गेहूं वगैरह निकालने के बाद जो stubble है ना, वो जो crop waste, उसको मिट्टी के अंदर ये मिला देना. That we call mulching. And again, green manuring, that green plants can also be incorporated into soil. That adds to soil organic carbon and enriches the soil with soil nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus and other nutrients which are required for plant growth. And contour farming, these are all some of these techniques. Contour plowing and contour farming cropping means it's farming across the slope. If you farm along the slope, and it might induce soil erosion. So we have to farm across the slope, that we will see in the coming slides. And intercropping, mixed cropping, improved sowing, planting. We have to plant and sow at the right time, and we have to give irrigation at right time and right quantity. Canopy management, this crop leaves and other stem management, IPM, integrated pest management, disease management, nutrient management, integrated nutrient management, all that becomes concepts and technologies associated with nature positive technologies. And these days now advanced engineering technologies also coming up, kind of integration, adoption of conservative cropping, conservation for agriculture, and along with agroponics, aquaponics, biofloc technology, precision farming, and application of nanotechnologies, engineering principles are these days increasingly applied and finding space in farming and agriculture sector. High yielding varieties, breeds, biofortification of traditional crops, biopesticides, sensor-based automations, and these 21 to 25 is recognized as a digital agriculture by Government of India. This drone-based farming and improved machinery, all precision farming or protected farming in polyhouses, all that are advanced technologies and concepts coming into farming sector. And these are all some of these farm animals are normally integrated, that kind of large animals, hoofed animals, cow and buffalo and goat and sheep, and kind of rabbits, poultry, different breeds of poultry birds and pigs and fish, aquatic organisms, shrimps and crabs, all are integrated with one another, so that the profit or production is maximized. And this is a pig fish integration. Pigs get space for their living, and fish gets nutrient. This pig waste or dung becomes a feed for fish, and so fish gets feed for them. And that way, the one's presence benefits the other also. Rather, one's output becomes others' input. And this is a system we developed in Mussoorie Hills, poultry and piggery and fish, and down below agriculture. And irrigating these crops, the agriculture crops with the fish water reduces the requirement for nitrogen and fertilizer needs in crops. So thereby it reduces the environmental pollution and also recycles the waste and resources between the components, so that it maximizes the production. And I'll just skip through. These are all some of these components of integrated farming system, and these are all some of the advanced recirculated aquaculture system. Here this water is again and again recirculated crop after crop, so that the water use or water requirement is reduced and maximum is produced. And this is another one technology, biofloc technology. And in this round tank, this could be indoor also, round tank, microbial association is introduced. A group of microbes are introduced, and that eats up these fish waste and unwanted matter, and that becomes, and the microbes also becomes feed for fish. So the waste is removed, and microbes also gives feed for fish. This is a biofloc technology also coming up very fast in our country. And aquaponics, and along with these fish and vegetables, leafy vegetables also can be taken up, and like broccoli and peppers and cucumbers, spinach, all can be integrated. And this is very suitable for urban areas and where land is limited, and indoor also. घर का अंदर भी ये कर सकता है. And this is another farming system, shrimp farming, coastal shrimp farming. And in the coastal close to coastal area, समुद्र का किनारा पे पांड बना के यहाँ पर ये this shrimp we can farm. This is 1 kilo is 1,000 rupees. It's a high value crop, and it is having more nutritional value and also export. ये हमारा देश के लिए बहुत एक्सपोर्ट आ रहा है. और ये सिस्टम कोस्टल श्रिम्प फार्म का, ये तो श्रिम्प का प्राण का फीडिंग, वो प्राण फीड करता है नहीं करता है ये देखने के लिए फीडर है, और ये फिल्टर है और एरेटर्स है. ये फिल्टर है और ये एरेटर्स है. एरेटर इसलिए चाहिए, वो aquatic इकोसिस्टम और पानी के अंदर हवा 5 to 6 ppm ओनली रहेगा, और जो that may not be sufficient for the overstocked biomass. So in that context, we have to increase the oxygen level of the pond water, so that for which we have to aerate. This is another technology, and this is a recirculated system in US and advanced countries, and they are using this recirculated aquaculture. This water is recirculated again and again. The water flows, and again it goes to there and it comes out. And at the end of the system, they use filter feeders. So they filter all the waste materials available in the pond. And again, this water is cleaned, and that becomes clean, and that can be recirculated again. And this is automatic feeders and feed trucks. So it reduces the manpower requirement, and जो मछली का feed or aquatic fish feed इसमें डाल देता है, और जब whenever fish feels hungry and they need feed, and there is a rope hanging down, उसको वो disturb करता है, that the feed from these hopper will fall down. So this we call demand feeder or automatic feeder. So this reduces the feed wastage, because जो मछली के जब चाहिए वो feed करता है, तो feed unnecessarily गिरता नहीं है, और feed is a costly input, so इसका feed कभी waste नहीं होगा. Also this excess feed अगर अंदर गिरेगा, तालाब के अंदर गिरेगा, तो it will cause environmental pollution. So पैसा का भी नुकसान और environmental भी नुकसान है. And this waste, this used water can be collected in the settling tank, and there जो paddy or गेहूं का बुराल होगा ना, straw, all that is taken here, and all the nutrients will be absorbed here, and these nutrients can be absorbed nutrients can be applied as a mulch material in the crops. जो मिट्टी के अंदर crop जो खेती में हम मिला सकता है इसको, and your water gets purified with this, and this nutrient absorbed nutrient also become new fertilizer in the crop field, and this water can also be again recirculated and used in fish ponds or all that. And this is the filtration system in the coastal aquaculture, and जो waste material or suspended sediments होगा ना उसको filter करने के लिए this series of nets are aligned so that this waste material can be settled down. And this is another bioblock system which we have developed in a farmer's field in Dehradun. This is just I'll just have a look at, and we can understand later. And another technology is pearl farming. Pearl farming also these days coming up, and artificial pearls are available from oceans and samudra mein milta hai, lekin wo less in number, but artificially they can be grown in some of the freshwater species, lemmelidens, freshwater species and marine species. Samudra mein pinktada pearl oysters mein from pearls artificially we can produce also. And there are modern tools and gadgets for milking and animal husbandry activities, kind of line feeding, stall feeding, and automated milking machines and automated drinking machines, and sensor based tags. If these animals are tagged with sensors, and if they have got some disease or health problems, and this can be detected in the computer, and accordingly medicines or healthcare intervention can be taken up. And this is another intervention that cow urea being collected these days. Now nature farming and natural farming is being largely promoted by our government of India to advance our traditional knowledge and traditional technique and traditional agriculture, and in which crop this cow urine is also one of the ingredient in nature farming that is being collected and purified and supplied to the farmers. And this slide shows the rural poultry hatchery and farming. Now these days with 5 lakh rupees, and rural hatcheries are coming up, and with which we can produce day old chicks, and we can promote rural or backyard or dual purpose. The poultry chicks for both eggs and meat can also be promoted. And these advanced poultry feeders and drinkers, ये भी जरूरत है poultry farming में. जो जरूरत है वो just understand करने के लिए at this stage you may not know much, you need not know much, but these are all some of the concepts and items which we are using and delving in agriculture and other sectors. And these are some of these tools and instruments or gadgets for mushrooms. This is a mushroom substrate collected in polybags, and polythenes are now these days objected in terms for environmental concerns. And for now, one entrepreneur here in Dehradun, he has developed these mushroom substrate blocks, so that does not need any plastic. So it is mushroom block making and mushroom substrate mixer. So these substrates are put here, and it is automatically mixes. So it reduces the manpower and the labor record.
Hello, students. I think there is some technical glitch from sir's side. We will try to resolve this soon. Muruganandam sir, if you can hear me, I think there is some network issue from your end. Yes, sir. I think now you're audible. We had some technical glitch, I suppose.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
So now we
Yes,
are
yes, yes.
running short of time. I think how much more time? I think 5-10 minutes I can have.
Yes, sir. Sure, sure. You can have
Okay.
10 to 15
All right.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My slides are visible,
Yes, sir. So
right?
could you try to move the slide just to check if it is changing? Yes, sir.
Moving?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, and in every field of agriculture sectors, we are having innovations and new items are coming in. And this is poultry bird peelers. You see these kind of poultry shops, and just poultry birds are killed and put it here, and it automatically deskins and these have their feather are removed and it makes ready. And like that innovations are coming up, and we have to think, we have to identify the problems and come up with solutions, maybe through out of box thinking and kind of applying science and technological principles. And similarly here is a kind of honeycomb honey production. Now honey is an important item, and in the natural production is very minimum, and these days in climate change and again improved agriculture and use of fertilizers, and their production is getting reduced in the nature. And now we have come up with kind of artificial honeycombs and honey production, and through these boxes designed, and these honeycombs are designed, and these honey bees are attracted and production is increased. And this is another hydroponics, and this is a long this is a bigger tanks, and from these tanks पानी यहाँ इसी ट्यूब में आ जाता है, इसी plastic PVC tubes, and here is a lower level ground level tank is there, and there the fertilizers and chemical needed are applied. जो plants को जो nutrients और chemicals चाहिए वो इसमें डाला सकता, और ये this can come into these water source, water tubes. And here we can plant leafy vegetables and chili and other crops in these small buckets out of caps. And with these we can inside the room only we can have crop production with minimum use of water, and more production within the urban landscape and urban area. And this is a sensor where how much nutrients is inside, and that indicates nitrogen and phosphorus level. Accordingly we can put nutrients here in this tank, and that gets supplied into these tanks. This is another way of crop production. And this polyhouse again to regulate the temperature and induce the crop growth and plant growth, so that they have a congenial environment for their growth. And again meteorological units and meteorological parameters, measuring and understanding meteorological parameters, weather data, weather parameters like sunshine, rainfall, and kind of wind flow, wind direction, all that, this is rain gauge, all that is also important in incorporating we are improving the crop production. And plant nursery, and here also a lot of techniques and innovations are being introduced. And these are some of these instruments and items for rainfall measurement, and जो बारिश से कितना रन ऑफ बह रहा है, वो इसको जो जितना पानी बह रहा है वो इसको मेजर करने के लिए these structures are available just for your knowledge or information. And this is the rainfall runoff, जो बरसात का पानी से कितना पानी वो बह रहा है जमीन का ऊपर से, जो बरसात का पानी है उसका क्या अल्टीमेट फेट क्या हो सकता, तीन हो सकता, वो तो एक तो कुछ पानी जमीन का अंदर रिस सकता, इन्फिल्ट्रेशन हो सकता, और कुछ पानी ओवरलैंड फ्लो का वो जो रन ऑफ का तरफ वो बह सकता, कुछ पानी एवापोरेट करके जा सकता. So now we in our institute soil and water conservation, we are now aiming to reduce these runoff flow, so that the maximum water gets infiltrated into the ground, so that groundwater resource, groundwater base becomes improved, and that is a reservoir, and we can take any time, and our soil condition also gets improved, and water becomes available for other production and cropping system. And for that, this is another instrument, engineering instrument for infiltration. मिट्टी के अंदर कितना पानी रिस सकता, पानी के अंदर कितना पानी जा सकता, व्हाट इज द सॉइल पोर्स, कितना जो पानी किस लिए मिट्टी के अंदर जाएगा, जो मिट्टी के अंदर जो स्पेस है, वॉइड स्पेस है, वो मिट्टी पूरा सीमेंट का तरफ भरा हुआ नहीं है, वो स्पेस है, उसमें कितना पानी जा सकता given soil and land condition में. So this infiltrometer and this is CO2 emission meter. जो मिट्टी कितना CO2 emission is now burning topic, isn't it? In the name of climate change, CO2 measurement and CO2 emission is a important aspect in our every production aspects. So this is a CO2 measurement, कितना ये मिट्टी और इतना ये crop कितना CO2 emission emit कर रहा है. And this is the plant digester, and plant is digested into powder, and by incorporating IoT based tools and sensor, we can even directly putting the plant, we can know the nitrogen and phosphorus content of the plant, other nutrients of the plant, and that can be linked to your laptop or even mobile. So IoT based system also coming up, and these are all advanced instruments available in different research laboratories for nitrogen and phosphorus. And this is CO2 measurement in the field, and this is chlorophyll measurement in leaf. Chlorophyll is available found in plants and also in aquatic planktons, all that. So that is the indication of water quality and productivity. And this is again measurement or monitoring of our aquatic ecosystem and lakes and environment in field. And there was some of the questions were there opportunities, are there any opportunity for resource management, and there are career opportunities for students. And in that context, I just would like to deal some of these scroll some of the slides. Natural resource, we must understand what are those natural resources: soil, water, minerals, biodiversity, forest, wildlife, mammals, all that are our natural resources, isn't it? And then biodiversity could also be different level, landscape, ecosystem, species, gene level, diversity, all that. And environment management, all that is all that forms our environment. And by environment, if we say environment, what are those environment? Land, water, and air. All these three components forms an environment, and within that land we have got different land uses like forest, settlement, our gar वगैरह, इधर में agriculture, barren land. And water के अंदर rainfall runoff, rivers, जो नदियां, नाला है, oceans, ground, ponds, tanks, ये सारा water में. Air, atmospheric and aerosol, all that becomes our environment. ये हमको manage करना, इसको manage करना और के लिए बहुत सारा jobs and opportunity both है, and we have to explore only thing. And these natural resources and environment are very much associated with our livelihood and food production, because good environment is a function of balanced ecosystem and their components. The components means the land and water, all that, clean air, clean water, hygiene, all that. And good agriculture production is also function of good land, good labor and capital and climate, all that. So, and this good land and good environment, good agriculture is also very much essential for our human lives and for our own living and welfare, because our living and welfare is a function of a good food production and good environment. So all that we need to maintain, and these are all some of these kind of environmental pressures, environmental problems, and anthropogenic pressures. So that we need to avoid. See, in the name of road construction, we disturb the soil, and that induces the erosion. यहाँ नदी का ये नदी है, नदी में we are promoting construction house वगैरह, जो नाला को block करेंगे तो वो पानी, बरसात का पानी कैसे जाएंगे? So that will induce erosion and again problem, and these are all different environmental related problems. That, and again another problem is environmental pollution, kind of air pollution and water pollution. And here, if you talk about water pollution, there are two sources of water pollution. Point source pollution. That point source means the pollution comes from the pointed source, like industries, municipal waste, or all that. And non-point source means it is उसका जो source का pollutant का source पता नहीं है. Maybe agriculture or our settlement, forest area में आ सकता है. वो यहाँ से आ रहा है, ऐसा हमको पता नहीं चलता. वो that is non-point source pollution. These are all polluting our aquatic environment. So we have to develop suitable water quality or water treatment technologies like settling, trickling filters and sedimentation technology, flocculation technologies. There are different technologies to improve the water quality and for different purpose, maybe for irrigation and even for drinking purpose. And these are all some of these best soil and water conservation technologies that you use there was a question on soil and water conservation technology to help the farmers. And here minimum soil working and minimum soil disturbance and soil cover should be promoted, and bunding, and there are many different soil conservation techniques, and similarly conservation agronomy and cover cropping. So land should be covered, soil should be covered, and there are many different irrigation improvements, and similarly animal husbandry also, minimum use of water, and fish farming, promotion of integrated farming, and sedimentation filtration. These are all some of these techniques with which we can improve soil and water resources. And these are all some of the soil and water conservation technologies like trenches and bunds. This is contour bunds. ये तो slope है, ये slope इसी तरफ का रहता है, and against the slope we have to make a bund or cropping also against the slope. This is the slope against the slope. अगर slope का साथ साथ हम plant करेंगे तो ये it will induce the erosion. So that we call contour farming and contour bunding, and there are different bunds, and the nadi nala को भी train करना है. This structure is called gabion, and this gabion net is made, and this net is lined here with local use stones, all that. So these are all some of these soil conservation techniques. And another one technique, soil conservation, water conservation techniques, is water harvesting structures, and the bigger water holding structures are irrigation channels and dams and ponds, all that. And this is another. Hello. Namaskar. And this is another sloping area land technology, that is toposequential based. In the top area need to be maintained as a forestry crop, and down below horticulture, and still down below agriculture crop can be made and incorporated, and down reaches the entire water falling, rainwater falling in this area can be harvested here, and this can be used for irrigation, irrigating the crop, maybe by using energy or gravity flow. The downstream reaches can be used with gravity flow, and again this water can also be used for multiple use of fish farming, poultry farming, all that. This harvested water can be effectively and efficiently used following conservative principles. Water is a precious commodity, and that needs to be effectively used, maybe by pitcher irrigating, part se thoda root mein dena hai, otherwise drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation. There are advanced technologies. Here also a lot of employment opportunities are available. And these are all some of these slides that showing kind of land degradation and slope stabilization and landslide treatment. This is often seen in this Himalayas and all, landslides occurs, and these landslides can be treated with geojutes. This is a textiles, geojutes, jute है, वो इसमें लेयर करने से वहां पर लोकल क्रॉस आ जाएगा, वो कुछ समय में यहाँ लैंडस्लाइड कैन बी स्टेबलाइज्ड, and with which this area can be improved, and good water quality can also be received in the streams and nalas. All that, and this I'll skip. And there was another question that wetlands and rivers. Wetlands also one of the important aquatic resource and water resources, which helps, which contributes to our socio-economic and livelihoods, and that it helps in water purification and water regulations. It promotes the groundwater recharge and control. It helps in flood control also. Wherever wetlands and rivers there, they absorb the flood water and reduces the flood potential. And because it acts as a sponge and promotes the fish and wildlife and biodiversity conservation, and it's also source of fish and source of fishing and livelihood, and it also helps in checking erosion, all that. So they are all contribute to our to socio-economic and our day-to-day life. And this is important slide with reference to streams and rivers. Rivers has got 3 zones: upper zone, zone of production, and middle zone, transition zone, and deposition zones. जो मिट्टी वगैरह यहाँ होगा वो इधर आएगी, ये जमा हो जाता, that we call deposition. And this is upstream and this is downstream, and this is upland and this is lowland. So all these any damage in the upland will affect the lowland or even the streams also. Similarly, any damage in the upstream will affect the downstream also. So we have to understand these linkages, and accordingly we have to manage the rivers. And rivers also has got different habitats like riparian. Riparian means नदी का दोनों साइड का एरिया कॉल्ड riparian zones or riparian area. That may be 5 meter or 30 meter away from the bank to इस area का जो 5 meter का area or 90-60 meter का area, whatever may be depending on the location. This both sides of the river bank is called riparian zone. And waterfalls, you all know Simili Fall or Kempty Fall, like that. Falls and cascading and pools in the नदी का अंदर वाटर पूल भी बनता है, रिफिल्स, और यहाँ पर डिफरेंट aquatic organisms रहता है. उसको ये सारा वो जरूरत है वो फिश प्रोडक्शन के लिए, उसका हमने समझना चाहिए. We have to understand their science and technology and their kind of habitats existing behind their survival. And this is e-flow, environmental flow, and easy nadi nala mein at least we have to maintain 15 to 20% of the average lean season flow, that summer season flow, to help the aquatic ecosystem and fish production and other ecosystem services, ecosystem goods and services. Nadi se kya ecosystem goods and services aa sakta, jo nutrient recycling and kind of fish as such is a ecosystem service product only, food. So इसको promote करने के लिए we have to maintain at least 50 to 20% of the lean season flow, that we call e-flow, environmental flow. And जैसे नदी बह रहा है top to bottom, कुछ fish यहाँ पर जो aquatic species fish और कीड़ा मकड़ा यहाँ अलग रहेगा, और as नदी जहाँ flow करता है वो यहाँ पर अलग हो जाएगा. So यहाँ पर अलग species रहेगा, और some species will be added here, some species will be eliminated. So that we call river continuum concept, that you can bear in mind. River continuum, जैसे नदी बह रहा है उसमें जैसे नदी बह रहा है all along the river stretch, some species will be added and some species will be eliminated depending on the environmental parameters like temperature and water quality, flow conditions, all that. And wetlands हम कहता है kidneys of the earth, because it helps in filtering the waste and water. And forests are often equated with lungs of the earth because it recycles the gas and like oxygen and carbon dioxide. And this is an ecotone. Ecotone आपको पता होगा, it's a transitional habitat. जो जैसे forest river का साथ मिल रहा है. So that we call ecotone or transitional zone. And ये wetland मतलब land area, उसमें हमेशा पानी हमेशा रहेगा. So that area will always have water, maybe partly or year round. So that is there are Ramsar sites. Wetlands are now these days very popular, and in India we have got 75 Ramsar sites. And wetlands are important aquatic ecosystem, and they are all anoxic conditions because वो हमेशा पानी के नीचे, जमीन पानी के नीचे रहेगा, so वो एयर ऑक्सीजन लेवल कम रहेगा, अनारोबिक रहेगा, so उसका कारण वो हाइड्रिक रहेगा, मॉइस्ट रहेगा, and उसका वहां पर जो वेजिटेशन और aquatic species वो अलग होगा. And 6% of the earth is housing 40% of the species and plants in the name of wetlands. And India has got something around 75 Ramsar sites. Now in this Amrit Kal, now last year we have made into 75. Earlier only it was 35. अभी आ रहा है, अभी आ रहा है, ठीक है, अभी आ रहा है. Yeah. So our wetlands are getting vanished because of our anthropogenic activities. So that we need to conserve and we need to understand their biodiversity and ecosystem. वो इसका अंदर क्या-क्या species है. अगर ये Placoptera, Ephemeroptera and other Diptera, ये species ज़्यादा नदी का अंदर रहेगा तो वो नदी ज़्यादा polluted नहीं है. और ये जो Diptera और Oligoptera ज़्यादा कीड़ा, these are all insects, aquatic insects, ये ज़्यादा रहेगा तो that river or wetland is more polluted. So we have to monitor these presence of these organisms or insects in the river, so that we can monitor and maintain their health. And for that there are different kind of species like keystone species, umbrella species, foundation species, ecosystem engineers. These are all some of the species that you bear in mind, and for just to help the aquatic ecosystem monitoring and health management. And we'll switch over to this biotechnology, which includes genetic engineering and transgenic organisms and which are finding use in medical field and agriculture and marine and fisheries biotechnology, also in production and post harvesting and health management, all that, and environment management also. There are some bacteria which can remove oil spills, superbugs, pseudomonas, all that, and forestry management and other applications. These transgenics and biotechnology finds use in many different fields, including fisheries and aquaculture and animal husbandry. And another one technology, emerging technology, is nanotechnology. Is in that the material is manipulated at a nano level, that is 10 to the power minus 9 size. Different same materials, maybe carbon or maybe metal or any other plant matter also, at a nano size level, they have a different properties. Say example, this is the phone, and it's a bigger size. If you break into the nano size, and the material made of that phone will have a different properties, and it will have a different use and physical properties also. So these properties are being utilized, effectively used in different agriculture production and other sectors also, because they have got more surface to volume ratio, because the bigger material is broken into smaller size. Smaller size होने का कारण उसमें surface area to a given volume will be more. So that is helping in our production system or any other kind of positive impact, positive benefits. It can be used as a catalyst and reinforces or recording materials, medicines, all that. The nanomaterial has got a different application in medicine, energy, information technology, food and beverages, and textiles, and even in aquaculture also, in identifying diseases, and nanomedicines, nanodiagnostics, nanovaccines are all common. And it's metal based, copper oxide, zinc oxide, these silver oxide and titanium oxide, they are all finding use in this disease identification and disease management, and water quality improvement also. These plant-based carbohydrates are all made into nanoparticles, and some of these seaweeds-based polysaccharides, they are having sulfate groups and carboxylate groups, and they absorb these phosphorus and nitrogen from water selectively. So these are all seaweeds, and these nanoparticles, if you are applying in this water, and they remove nitrogen and phosphorus, they are all important pollutants in aquatic ecosystem, causing eutrophication. So this nanotechnology is finding use in water quality improvement also. Similarly, zeolites and nanoclays all help in sealing the pond bottom, so that infiltration will be reduced, soil loss, soil percolation will be reduced, and soil loss will be reduced. So these nanomaterial also finding use in different areas. And there was another question that what is the difference or comparison between US and Indian context. In India, in US, these people and the children are caught young, and they are sensitized and promoted at the young age itself what is the importance of ecosystem, habitat, environment, and concepts, and they are allowed to kindle and wander around the environment. They understand better ecosystem and habitats. They manage the resources in a responsible way. And this is the kind of general store where the fishing items, recreational items, hunting and fishing, all promoted there. And there is a kind of conservation fee, a license fee is collected for recreational fishing, and that is again plowed back for conservation and management of this aquatic ecosystem and natural habitats and forests. And there was another question that traditional versus modern farming. Traditional farming is always less damaging to environment, though it may be less producing, but they are always economical, and they are less damaging to the environment, and nutritionally they are rich in nutritional quality, and anything traditional crop, traditional item, traditional products will always be valued high and priced high. That is why our government of India is now promoting natural farming and traditional farming. At best, what we can do is that we can marry these traditional practices with modern techniques, so that we make a compromise, and we also improve the traditional practice through modern techniques. Thereby, we improve our production systems. And in the US, it is mechanized farming, and in extensive area cropping is done. And these are all some of the slides that shows different avenues for science and engineers in various sectors, like vaccine production and Zoom, this meeting where we are holding all these advancement of technologies only. So this is highlighted that in e-commerce and software related, we have got a lot of opportunities for application of engineering and scientific inputs and principles and digital marketing. And in the end, I would emphasize whatever we may do, that food production and supply or economy, that we have to bother about environment. Environment and nature is our ultimate aim to conserve, and our food production or our economical production system or supply system should be within the subset of the environment. If they are independent, and that will be poor in sustainability, that is not good for our livelihood and sustainability. So we should bother about our environment. And here I would end up, and I think 5-15 minutes crossed, and I would happy to take any question. And it was a fast flow, and I'm happy to take any question, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for elaborating all the questions that our students had with such clarity. And I understand that the time was quite limited. On behalf of all the students, and also because we are running a little short of time, just one question I will put forth on behalf of all the students. That is, what are the kind of courses, academic courses that the students can pursue post 12th standard if they are interested in agriculture or related fields?
Yeah, for example, engineering related, if you say there are agronomy, agriculture, BSc agriculture, and within agriculture also there are a lot of disciplines, soil and water conservation engineering, BTech engineering, and BTech post harvesting, and aquaculture engineering, and aquaculture as such, and again for post harvest engineering in fisheries, and livestock and animal husbandry, for processing. All the processing engineering. There are many different agriculture universities in the country which are offering many different agriculture engineering courses and other agriculture courses, also fisheries courses, and veterinary colleges and veterinary universities. They are also offering different courses of BSc and BTech courses for +2 candidates, maybe through competitive common entrance exams or university-based exams, depending on the state and location. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for answering that query as well. With this, we are coming to an end of the session. I would especially like to mention Ms. Samskit Dolma from JNV Leh, Ms. Kalyani Dange from JNV Nandat, Ms. Disha C from JNV Chitradurga, Ms. Neha from JNV Rohtak, and Ms. Khushi Sahu from JNV Raipur, who had posted their questions, and which were, very clearly addressed by sir in this limited time. Now, without taking any further time, I invite Ms. Jessley from American India Foundation to deliver the vote of thanks and conclude the session with that.
Right. Thank you. And these students, I don't know how far they are compelled to sit, or they were having little interest, or they were following the flow of information.
Sir, all these students are the chosen one who already have interest in science and STEM related field, and who
Right.
are,
Yeah.
motivated to go ahead with STEM field. So yeah, I can see that a lot of students are there, listening to you very keenly.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Uh,
should be because they are in a formatting stage and they are with a lot of opportunity now.
yes, yes. Jesli, are you there to deliver the vote of thanks? All right. So I'll just, conclude the session.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. I know it is difficult to, take time from your very busy schedule, but thank you so much for taking the time for these students. And a special mention and, note of gratitude for Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, Department of Science and Technology, and everyone who is working tirelessly for this one mission to encourage and motivate girl students in the STEM field. I hope this session was very helpful to you and as interesting as it was for me. Thank you. See you all in the next session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you one and all for having me here in this important program. And I too enjoyed, and we will see you in another program. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, students.
I'll just leave. I have got one meeting, that is also over now. Okay. All right. Thank you.